Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk. You ever just get so bored that you burn a donut just to see what'll happen? It wasn't as interesting as I'd hoped it would be. It seems like no matter what I do recently, I always end up being bored shitless. And it's like, how can that even happen? I have Mario Tennis open and multiple court cases to defend myself in. But you know what they say, boredom can lead to one of two things, creativity or poor financial decisions. Wanna guess how it affected me?
Kirby is the loveliest little tumor I've ever met. I adore him, don't get me wrong, but he just won't fuck off. You think Nintendo's obsession with Mario is bad? Try and find me a Nintendo console that doesn't have a Kirby game on it. Well, you got me there. Kirby is one of the most prominent series in Nintendo's catalog. It feels like every 2 minutes Nintendo's announcing another project with Kirby in it. Oh, he's in a fighting game, he's in a 3D platformer, he's in a Fall Guys knockoff, what's he gonna be in next? Court?
Do you think the jury would side with a walking marshmallow?
Now obviously a reason for this is that the Kirby games are made by HAL Laboratories, who don't have much else going on in their lives. They could either keep making Kirby games, or cry about Box Boy. It's your move. But even still, the rate at which Kirby games release is really impressive, and HAL seems to be trying their best to fit the little puffball into as many genres as possible. This makes a lot of sense. Kirby is supposed to be the gateway drug, an interpretation of a genre that at a base level seems simplistic and very welcoming to newcomers, but when you get down and dirty with his games, they offer a lot of depth. A lot of the genres he's tackled are really well suited to his more simplistic design. Platformers, puzzle games, even fighting games. But one genre Kirby almost feels at odds with is the racing genre. Trailblazer. Kirby Air Ride, HAL's attempt at making a more simple version of Mario Kart, which is a more simple version of F-Zero, which is a more simple version of arcade racing games, which are more simple versions of simulation racing games, which are more simple versions of driving.
That is one head of a daisy chain.
This odd bugger of a game released on the Nintendo GameCube on February 27th, 2004 here in the UK, a time in which it was unclear if Kirby was gonna pull through. A Kirby racing game was revealed for the Nintendo 64 back in the build-up to that system's launch, and that entire console generation passed by with not even as much as a whimper out of that game. Then when the GameCube entered the scene, there were multiple other Kirby projects revealed, the most notable of which being the 2D side-scroller that became Kirby's Adventure Wii, but still no sign of this damn racing game! If mainline Kirby projects weren't even managing to see the light of day, there's no way in hell an N64 spin-off is ever gonna be seen again. Man, I am really off my game today. Good news, everybody! It lived! Kirby Air Ride was re-revealed as a Nintendo GameCube game, and released a couple of years into the system's life. Say what you will about the game, but with Kirby projects dropping like flies, and the series really only being kept afloat by the GBA titles, it was really good to finally see a big boy home console title make it to store shelves. Regardless of what you think of the game itself, this was a win for Kirby. And not for my wallet. The GameCube is one of the worst systems to collect for purely because so much of the library is unreasonably expensive. And right up near the top of the pack is Kirby Air Ride. But why? It's not as if this game sold particularly poorly. It managed around 1.3 million units when all was said and done. That may not compare to the likes of Mario Kart and Smash Bros, but that's still nothing to sneeze at, and I get that the game is pretty beloved in the hearts of fans. But so is Clean Water, and I think my money is better spent on that than Kirby. But I'm a sucker for the GameCube, and also for good games, so it only made sense for me to buy Kirby Air Ride. And I'll be the first to admit that much like any other rare or expensive title, it feels really damn cool to own this thing. Why is this logo not centered properly?
Buyer's remorse.
As soon as you start this game, it wastes no time in showing you the main thing that differentiates it from other racing games. That being its control scheme. This game is designed to be controlled using the control stick and the A button And that's it. It's pretty obvious right away that this is how Air Ride follows the Kirby staple of being easy for newcomers, as this is a very simple control scheme for a racing game. The vehicles are all hovercrafts that accelerate on their own, and the control stick is used to control the direction you drive in. Pushing down on the control stick after hitting a jump also allows you to temporarily take flight, which can grant you access to alternate routes, or let you easily dodge an obstacle on the ground. The A button is a multi-purpose tool, primarily being used to bring your vehicle to the ground, which offers two benefits, the first of which being the boost ability. Pressing A brings your vehicle to an almost full stop, which can make tight turns significantly easier, and the longer you hold A for, the more your boost meter will fill. Releasing the A button with a near full boost meter will propel you forward, and pulling off multiple boosts in a row can lead to some pretty wicked speeds. The second benefit is being able to interact with the environment. Pretty much every level in the game has panels that can be pressed to change an element of the environment, such as turning off lasers that block your path. Every level also has boost panels that can only be used by pressing A over them. The levels are also littered with enemies, and if you press A when you're near one, Kirby will inhale it. So that's why I could never get into watching Formula 1, there just wasn't enough for. Most enemies can simply be used as projectiles against other players, but some enemies grant Kirby certain copy abilities, which function almost identically to how they do in the mainline games, which is awesome! This was the perfect way to implement items into this game. Instead of having them in item boxes like in Mario Kart, their implementation fuses this new genre with a core part of Kirby's identity, and they all function exactly how you'd expect them to. This control scheme seems like it would be really limiting and make it feel like there wasn't much going on in this game, but that couldn't be further from the truth. It actually offers a lot of depth, and the gameplay is in no way hindered by the lack of inputs. But remember how I said Kirby felt at odds with the racing genre? In my opinion, this control scheme can actually be a lot more difficult to adapt to than, again, something like Mario Kart. Having the A button be so versatile is really commendable and offers a lot of unique gameplay opportunities, but it makes this game fairly intimidating to newcomers, which goes against the core philosophy it was designed around. However, once you get the hang of the controls, they feel really damn good, and end up becoming second nature to you, which is the telltale sign of a good control scheme. It just takes a while to get to that point, and I feel like that could be enough to scare some people off. While I'm far from good at this game, the controls just ended up feeling incredibly natural after a while of playing, and that opened the door for this game to be an incredibly fun experience. I still get my ass handed to me, but it's a blast to play, and the controls inherently make you feel like continual improvement is within reach. This means the Kirby Air Ride simultaneously succeeded and failed at sticking to its core design philosophy.
Now that's something worth being inspired by!
Kirby Air Ride offers three main modes: Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial, each one offering completely different ways of playing. Air Ride is exactly what you'd expect it to be. You make your way through the game's levels, racing against either CPU opponents or other players. I do find it strange that there's no form of Grand Prix mode. You just pick a level, finish it, and then pick another. I feel like having some sort of structure to the mode might have made it a lot more replayable, but for what it is, it's more than serviceable. The levels on offer here are genuinely fantastic. Each one has a distinct theme which plays into the layout and obstacles, and there is some absolute gold here. Some of these environments are so compelling and are really cool to play through. They feel like legitimate worlds, more so than the locations in the mainline games to some extent. And each one is bursting with charm and attention to detail. It's insane. The only mild complaint is that some parts of some tracks feel more enjoyable to look at than to play. But this is far from frequent, as for the most part, the incredibly well-designed locations are a blast to traverse. Each one also has music that's unique to it, and all of these tracks really help with the immersion and cohesion of these courses. This mode is probably where you'll spend most of your time in this game, because you sure as hell aren't gonna spend that much time in Top Ride.
I never thought I'd have to be the one to break this news to you.
Top Ride is... while it isn't good, this mode feels pretty disposable in all honesty. It has the same core gameplay as Air Ride, just played from a top-down perspective on much more simplistic courses. It isn't necessarily bad, but it doesn't feel like much would be lost from this game without its inclusion. I think the track layouts end up being a bit too simple. For the brief time I played this mode, I was able to finish in first place with lots of time to spare, no sweat. That in itself isn't a huge issue, but the gameplay changes here are pretty unremarkable, so this doesn't really help things. I still had a good time with this mode, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not an essential part of the package, which definitely cannot be said for City Trial.
It is an honor to present to you the sole reason people remember this game exists!
City Trial sees you being plopped down in an open city sandbox with 3 other players, where the goal is to upgrade your ride by exploring as much of the city as possible. Dotted around the map are different vehicles and different stat boosters, and you're given 5 minutes to find the best vehicle you can and upgrade its stats as much as possible. At the end of this time period, all players are then thrown into some sort of challenge, whether it be hitting targets, killing as many enemies as possible, or a bog standard race. It's completely random what that final challenge will be, which means that there isn't any real planning involved in picking up stat boosts, and that constant sense of just hoping that what you're picking up will end up being helpful is actually pretty fun. This mode is incredible, and rightly receives a lot of praise from fans. The city itself has a lot of places to explore, so many little nooks and crannies to discover, and doing so is a blast. Of course, it could be argued that doing so wouldn't be as fun on a vehicle because they don't give you the chance to take your time with your exploration. Well then just say f*** the vehicle and tackle this bitch on foot. The people that say Forgotten Land was Kirby's first ever 3D platformer are just too afraid to accept the truth. This mode is such a great addition to a racing game. It seems like it might not offer much in terms of replayability because, after all, there is only one map and a handful of challenges after the main collecting stage. And yet, this is a mode I can spend hours in just because of how effing fun it is. Hell, at this point, the main racing mode almost comes as a bonus. The City Trial mode is far and away the best part of this game, and wholeheartedly justifies the existence of the package all on its own. I just wish I had somebody to play it with.
Do you want to play a game where you run around a city as a pink tumor?
I was just hoping that someone would ask me that today.
Really? Suppose I could ask my doctor.
The one complaint I see many people have with this game is that there just isn't enough to do in single player. And while I can't deny that you'll get a lot more mileage out of this game in multiplayer, there's a fucking storage facility worth of challenges to work through. This is personally where I got most of my mileage from with this game, the challenges. You'll complete lots of them pretty organically, and doing so will allow you to see how to complete the challenges surrounding it on the wall. And the combination of challenges you'll complete by accident and the challenges you'll go out of your way to complete means that you're constantly learning how to complete even more challenges. But to quote the first thing I say every morning, what's the point? Well, completing some challenges lets you unlock things! You can unlock green Kirby, purple Kirby, white Kirby!
But orange Kirby is not on the fucking table.
And you can unlock new vehicles and music tracks. When you consider that Air Ride and Top Ride both have their own separate walls of challenges, and the fact that you can unlock Meta Knight and King DDD separately, there's a lot of stuff to work through here, and I can imagine that doing so is a decently fun little time. There isn't a great deal of variety in what you do, which is just a symptom of the game not offering a great deal of content, but if you find yourself enjoying that core gameplay enough, then these challenges will keep you coming back to this game for a really long time.
Well, after playing through this game and adding it to my pile of rare and expensive games, I think it's safe to say that my boredom is officially cured! I wonder how my donut's doing. Jesus Christ, we put these things in our bodies!